Chapter 2. Traditional Life. The earliest Iroquois moved into the area of present-day New York about 1,000 years ago. They settled near the south shore of Lake Ontario and along the Mohawk River. The flat land along the shore of Lake Ontario was good for farming. Elm trees provided wood for homes and cooking fires. The people used maple syrup from trees to sweeten their foods. The men hunted deer, rabbits, wild turkeys, and other animals. They fished for trout, salmon, and bass in the rivers and lakes. The Iroquois built their villages on high ground with tall log fences called palisades. The palisades protected the people and their villages from wind, wild animals, and enemy attacks. After living in one village for 10 or 20 years, the Iroquois looked for a new village location. They looked for a place with good hunting and fresh soil for crops. Once the men had cleared the land, the Iroquois moved, built homes, and planted fields. Large related family groups called clans lived in longhouses. Each clan was related to a central woman, called a clan mother. Women owned everything in the clan. Families in the longhouse helped each other. Older family members cared for children while other adults worked. The women and girls worked together to cook meals. The longhouse. Men and women shared the work of building a longhouse. The men cut poles from young trees, made from young trees. They pushed the poles into the ground, then bent and tied them together at the top to create a frame. Women peeled pieces of bark from elm trees. They flattened the pieces to use as shingles to cover the frame. More poles held the shingles in place. A longhouse had no windows, but the Iroquois cut holes in the roof so smoke could escape from indoor fire pits. A longhouse had plenty of space for a clan. There was a wide aisle down the center. Each family occupied a room that opened onto the aisle. About every 20 feet, 6 meters, 2 families shared a fire pit. Families stored food, clothing, and bedding on a 3-level platform along the wall. The platform also provided a place to sleep off the bare ground. Many related families lived together in Iroquois longhouses. The size of each longhouse depended on the clan size. The houses were about 20 feet, 6 meters wide. They ranged in length from about 100 feet, 30 meters, to about 400 feet, 122 meters. When the clan needed space for a new family, they added room at one end of the longhouse. Growing food. Young boys and girls worked with their mothers. They gathered and prepared food and tended fields. In the spring, children gathered wild strawberries, milkweed, wild cabbage, and other wild plants. In spring, when the weather grew warmer, families planted corn, beans, squash, and other vegetables in their fields. The Iroquois often planted corn, beans, and squash together in one field. The corn stalks provided a pole for the beans to climb. The large squash leaves shaded the ground around the plants and kept weeds from growing. These crops provided most of the food that the Iroquois ate. Corn was the most important crop. The Iroquois ate fresh corn in late summer. They dried the corn and ground it into corn flour. They used the flour to make corn bread and cakes and to thicken soups. Roles of men and women. Girls and their mothers worked closely together. The girls learned to weave baskets and make clay pots. They learned the best places to find wild foods and many ways to cook the foods. Mothers taught their daughters the best time to plant crops and how to harvest them in the fall. Girls helped their mothers use deerskin hides to make clothing and moccasins. Men performed many jobs for the village. They cleared fields for crops, built longhouses, and made tools. Men were often gone for a month or more on hunting, fishing, or trading trips. They hunted deer, moose, elk, and bear for food. They trapped squirrels, raccoons, and rabbits. To hunt, they traveled long distances on foot and often stayed in the forest near the hunting grounds. Boys had to learn many skills. They learned to make bows and arrows, traps for small animals and birds, and fishing lines and hooks. They searched for the best hunting and fishing spots. Boys learned to trade with other nations and with Europeans. They played ball games with other boys to build teamwork. These skills helped them when they hunted and protected their villages as adults. Iroquois women created traditional beadwork designs on clothing. Women held an important place in Iroquois society. The Iroquois believed that Sky Woman fell from the sky. Geese helped her land safely on a giant turtle's back. Animals helped Sky Woman create the earth. Women often arranged marriages. When a young man was ready to marry, his mother sometimes suggested a bride. If the young man agreed, his mother talked to the young woman's clan mother. The clan mother studied the young couple's age and clan relationship. This connection was important because two people from the same clan were considered to be related and could not marry each other. If the young man was strong and a skillful hunter, the clan mother usually approved the marriage. If the clan mother said no, the couple could still marry, but usually did not. After a couple married, they went to live with the bride's family. Their children became members of the mother's clan. Beliefs and ceremonies. The Iroquois believed that a creator made all people to care for the earth and its creatures. The people often thanked the creator for their food. The Iroquois believed that all things in the world had a spirit. Some spirits helped people, and some harmed them through bad harvests and sickness. The Iroquois performed ceremonies according to their beliefs. There were ceremonies for each season. Almost every month, the people performed ceremonies for successful hunting, fishing, and harvests. The Iroquois always began and ended their ceremonies with a specific prayer of thanksgiving. The ceremonies were special times of feasts, dancing, and singing. One of the most important observances was the midwinter ceremony. It usually took place in late January or early February, when the hunters returned from the fall hunt. The men prepared for the winter hunt by repairing their weapons and snowshoes. At the beginning of the ceremony, special messengers wearing masks came to each longhouse and stirred the cold ashes in the fire pits. The stirring represented the renewing of the season's end of life. During the next week, the people participated in different activities. Every evening they ate big meals and danced together. During the midwinter ceremony, the clan mother gave new babies traditional clan names. Each clan mother knew the traditional names for her clan. When a clan member died, the name went back to the clan mother until she gave it to a new baby. No two living members of a clan had the same name. Ceremonies were happy times that brought families and villagers together. The dancing and games especially united the Iroquois in the middle of winter. The ceremonies honored the Creator who had been good to them.